Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options and Play video update. So we are into March. So Monday's first day of March. Earnings still surprisingly busy. Uh, what we've noticed though this past week before that, is that you have to be ultra selective with the earnings you're going after because there's a lot of choppy action. Maybe this week that'll change. Okay, but right now it does seem like the overall movement in the market is kind of dictating what happens with earnings. So I'm on the watch to see if that switch flips and all of a sudden earnings start moving again, or earnings start really like getting paid again in terms of options. But for right now, kind of have to just be like super selective. All right. For the open on Monday, SSYS. So about 5 points is what they're expecting here. So there's a 1-2 punch of this and Triple D on Monday. So SSYS is before the open, Triple D is after. So SSYS is going to set the tone. Um, Definitely a rough week for 3D names, like a lot of other momentum stocks. So this is way off the high now. Um, it it caught a huge bid in January. Actually, this is when it started to go. That was off the Triple D guide. But I do think that it could still move a decent amount on its own earnings. I'm just not sure how much near-term upside there is in the current environment. So I feel like any bull idea would really have to be at least a little longer term when it comes to expiration, just because still kind of like risk off across the board in this market. After the close on Monday, so like I said, Triple D. So they're pricing in about 6 for Triple D's numbers, but I mean SSYS before the open, that's going to set the tone. Plus Triple D guided back in January, so I don't know how much is going to be left in the tank. So more of a wait and see. Also, a big name after the close on Monday, Neo. About 7.5 points is what's expected here. Rough week for Chinese EV stocks. Neo's hanging on to its 100-day by a thread. It's really going to need a good quarter, and even more so, maybe just a good reaction to prevent a bigger breakdown. LI had good numbers, but didn't act so well, so I guess I really don't know if they're going to reward this or not. I feel like it really depends on whether or not the market stabilizes and risk comes back into all these EV momentum tech names, right? Another big name, Zoom, about 49 to 50 points. What's priced in here? Last quarter was hit real hard on. If I go back, so last quarter it was hit real hard on earnings, right? Um, Hasn't closed that gap. Options, they're pricey on this, but I feel like this is one where maybe it could be interesting. I know software stocks really haven't been flying around this quarter, but I mean, there have been some big moves on this. Last quarter was a big move. There's gaps sitting at a big support range. So maybe if the options come down a bit, maybe look at something lower debit, volatility strategy, a little bit further out of the money, but definitely more speculative. Definitely more speculative. Before the open on Tuesday, so Target and Kohl's. Actually, there's a bunch of retailers. Target's the biggest, but they actually already gave holiday sales
Hey, Rick.
guidance. So not too interested. Kohl's has activist news now, so that kind of changes the story. I think there just might be some better retail opportunities later in the week. SE. So about 28 points, what's expected here. This was just humming along for a while, and then it pulled back just with everything else kind of washed out. Um, it hasn't been a huge move on earnings. So I don't know. I feel like it's kind of tough to expect that to change right now. Does seem like a pretty nice swing trade candidate, though. I mean, if the numbers are good and holds this trend, could be another opportunity, right, to like scoop it at the 50-day and look for another bounce, because it's held this 50-day fantastic for months. So could be like a swing trade candidate post numbers. After the close on Tuesday, Fubo. So about 7 points is what they're looking for in this. I don't really know what to make of the setup. Definitely a volatile name. Still some short interest. It seems like it should move, and I feel like the risk reward seems better to the upside after the latest dip. But option pricing also kind of high. I think if you have conviction on this, maybe worth a shot. I just really haven't been trading it much, so I feel like I might leave it alone. Nordstrom, about 4.5 points is what's expected here. They haven't guided holiday sales yet, so this could be a mover. Still decent amount of short interest. Last quarter was pretty strong. I was here. And it seems like if Macy's can beat which it did this past week, that probably bodes well for Nordstrom. So maybe look at something speculative on the bull side on that one. Before they open on Wednesday, Dollar Tree. So about 7 points is what they're pricing in here. Historically, big move on earnings, but I guess I've just kind of lost some interest in the dollar store plays. Um, Compared to last quarter, option pricing seems low. So it's priced in a lot less than what it moved last quarter. So maybe something that could set up well for a volatility strategy. After the close on Wednesday, Marvell. So about 4 points is what they're expecting on this one. It has been at times leading semi, 5G play too. Earnings that haven't really been much of a catalyst though. Just last few quarters, momentum has slowed a bit recently, so I might wait and see what they say, and then look at a swing trade if the numbers and the charts look good after. Okta, about 21 and a half, I guess, is what's priced in on this one. Pretty solid software name. Often, just gets in like these really like consistent trends, but around earnings is just not that consistent of a mover. So paying up for options, I feel like hasn't really worked great. So I'm probably gonna leave this one alone. Snowflake, big name. It's about 30 points is what they're pricing in this quarter. This is the second report now. Stock actually didn't gap a whole lot. So this was the earnings release last quarter, but it actually didn't gap a lot, and then went a massive run the day of earnings and the day after earnings, right? So the big question here is, do you need to take the option risk into the print, right, or do you try to catch a big move if it kind of does like a repeat of what it did last quarter? Definitely kind of a toss up to me. But also, like the chart doesn't really look very good at the moment, so I might lean more towards like trying to scoop like a quick trade on it, like similar to last quarter if it starts to move. And also Splunk on Wednesday after the close, about 15 and a half points. Seems like an interesting volatility strategy candidate. Got rocked last quarter. Typically moves around earnings. Option pricing doesn't look too crazy, so maybe it seems like a nice size swing there. For the open on Thursday, Sienna. So about 5 points is what's priced in here. Historically, a move on earnings could be due for another good size move this quarter. Kind of interesting pattern too, because there's like a big gap from 2 quarters ago that's still unfilled. So maybe look at something lower, debit, maybe more speculative, but maybe on like both sides. Michaels. So about 3.5 points is what's expected. Those are monthly options, though. Strong quarter late. A strong quarter late in 2020. He's acted great, kind of in a consolidation. Looks pretty solid. So I feel like we might have to pay up a little bit more because options are monthly, but it does seem like a pretty good bull setup. But because you're paying up for more time value, there might not be like a ton of room left on the options. So just something to consider. After the close on Thursday, Broadcom. So big semi, priced it in 27 points. It's been a long time since this has had a sizable move on earnings. And in the what's going on right now with earnings, I mean, it really seems kind of hard to expect that pattern to change this quarter. Very, very consistent trend for months though, so it could be a swing trade candidate if it maintains the trend after the report. Costco. Priced in at about 12 and a half points. They give monthly comps though, so that kind of removes some of the uncertainty around earnings. Lower uncertainty equals less volatility most of the time, so probably not going to do anything with this one. And then Open Door. 575 is what's priced in here. First report since coming public. Zillow crushed it, so gotta imagine Open is going to be pretty good. I'd lean bullish here, but also would probably need to get risk down because the options are March 19th monthlies. I guess alternatively too, you could look at Zillow because Open Door moved on the Zillow report, so maybe Zillow moves on the Open Door report because Zillow actually pulled back off its high. And then lastly, on Friday morning, GSX. So about 16 or 17 points is what's expected. I'm not sure I'm going to play this one, but it could be interesting. It's been known to have some massive swings. Short interest is very, 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 very high. Super speculative, but seems like a name that could have a pretty big move with everything going on right now, right? With all like these names like squeezing. So, you know, last of the week, but could end the week with like some fireworks. So we'll have to wait and see. So obviously you can tell a lot of big names, a lot of big pricing moves. Hopefully we get some good action. I would really love to see them start to like open up like the average trading range on these things like post earnings, because then really give confidence to step in onto more size on like some of these earnings plays. All right. So if you like this video and you're looking for more information on trading earnings with options or more information on swing trading with options, please follow up with the link in the description of the video for more information on options and play. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay well, and I will talk to you all on Monday.